Ambition in motherhood looks a little different than ambition, I guess, in your daily life because it brings a lot of juggles, a lot of struggles, and a lot of things to figure out along the way.
Timing on that one, but I really
love that. I just really try to embrace changing whatever it is that I'm fearing into like, what is it that I do want?
And I think that that's the hardest part too, is that there's different drives for ambition.
So many of us are in our masculine because we have to provide.
Welcome to On Your Plate, brought to you by the Mom Economy, where we dive into the real uncensored mom stuff that no one is talking about. Today we have two incredible moms with us. Of course, we have our co-host Brit, Valdes, and we are ready to talk about ambition. Ambition in motherhood looks a little different than ambition, I guess, in your daily life because it brings a lot of juggles, a lot of struggles, and a lot of things to figure out along the way.
It was kind of corny that I was rhyming on that one, but I really
love that.
Ready to dive in?
Yeah, I'm ready to dive into his food.
Grab your coffee, sit back, and let's get real. I don't know about coffee, but
Or chopsticks.
grab your chopsticks, sit back, and let's get real. We're so happy today to be here at Hiyakawa, here in Wynwood. It's a little piece of Japan in Miami. First, let's kick things off with telling us a little bit about yourselves. Today we have Bibi here. Why don't you go first?
Hi. My name is Bibiana Julian. Everybody calls me Bibi, known as Bibi Jules on the gram. I am a new mom. I guess I'm 7 months in. My son's name is Roman, my little chunkers. And yeah, I feel like that's my purpose now in life, like just momming.
I love it. You know what they say, you should, I think we learned this on the last episode about your age of your oldest child is how many years you've been a mom. So you're a 7-month-old mom.
7-month-old mom.
Yeah.
Oh, I am a 7-year-old mom because that's my oldest son.
14-year-old mom.
She figured it out.
My name is Starr Hawkins, Baby Mama Fit. I'm a 14-year-old mom and personal trainer, Pilates instructor, and slowly turned my brand into training mostly moms and being in a mom community. So I love it.
We would be lost without you, Starr.
Thank you.
We appreciate you and the Department of Health and Fitness.
Let's go.
One of the biggest things that we face as moms is the mom guilt. I think that we all have our personal ambitions, whether that we're entrepreneurs running our own businesses or working for someone or doing 3 jobs. Like I'm tending to do like 3-4 different jobs where it's pulling me in 14 directions. But then I'm also a mom and I'm a single mom. And I think that it's a juggle because I don't want to lose my ambitions or my goals in life. Obviously, I don't want to miss time with my son. I don't want to lose time with my work. I have bills to pay. So I think we've all experienced at some point the mom guilt. But the funny thing is that after I did Sports Illustrated, one of the main questions that I was asked in all my interviews was, how do you keep it all together? What is it that you do? What is this special trick that I guess is that makes you able to do so much? And I really don't think that there's any special trick. I think that we all struggle with it. But I think sometimes I feel like I have it all together. And then other times I feel like my whole life is falling apart. And I think that that's the beauty of it. I think that no one expects you to be perfect. But I think that those days that you wake up and you're like, I got this, like everything went to par, like exactly as expected, or like your to-do list actually happened. You're like, wow, I actually did what I planned to do today. That's an accomplishment itself. So the biggest thing is like, I think that we have fears every day as moms because we're always like, my subconscious right now is with my son at school. He's struggling with a new school. He's not loving it. He just started kindergarten. And every day when I drop him off, he's like down. And when I pick him up, he's really excited. But my whole day I'm dragging now since he started 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago with this thought of like, is he okay? Because as moms, we always have our kids in our head.
Right.
So I think that while your boss is calling you or while your work obligations are, coming after you, like I need this to get done now, we have our kids in our head. So our minds are full. So essentially, I think the most important thing is to share, like, what is something that's really special to you that you've found a way to get through your day where you're not losing the goals that you have or your ambitions and you're still a present mom, but obviously something's got to give, right? So it's like, in what area do you find that you recommend or like a tip or a trick? You have an older baby and you have a really young baby. And I think that being that we're all in different stages of that, and Brit's kind of along the way with all of us, but we're all in different stages. And I think that that's also what changes. Is like what I did with my son when he was 7 months is not what I did with him at 5.
Yeah.
And I'm sure not going to be what he is at 15 or 20. So what's your biggest fear with balancing your goals as a mom and your ambitions for work?
I think for me, so I work for a startup, which is very like entrepreneur mindset. You're wearing many hats. We're a really small team of just 19 right now, going through like a series of funding, and it's aggressive and it's a lot of young, ambitious people. So it feels like you're running your own business. Like this is so personal to me because I support the co-founders, and I had 6 weeks of leave and I took 2 weeks off. And so I was able to just couple up the months to have that time at home with Roman and then work from home up until he was 6 months. And so then full throttle, I've been back like full on for almost 2 months now, just like in office, which really has helped me like focus. And I love what you said with like finding the balance of understanding that some days it's going to feel like, man, I am killing it. And other days it's just not going to feel as immaculate and seamless. It just aligns with like what I'm trying to adopt now. And I'm trying to lean into a more ambitious mindset that also embraces grace. So putting aside like, oh, look at Starr, I'm saying hi, people. Of course, she's Miss Miami, guys.
Cute little boy said hello to me.
Yeah, I guess it's just finding grace more than anything. And fear is something that I think could entirely overwhelm you. It's just reprogramming your mindset to find what it is that you do want out of that fear, right? So one of the biggest things is feeling like, man, like right now I'm grinding it out. And because so much of our relationships are West Coast, like you're ending your day a lot later. So I have this pocket of window of time to get home and walk Roman. Hopefully it's not raining outside. And then like bedtime routine starts. Yeah. So it's this thing where it's just like, I want to be able to just like have undivided attention for my son. And then you're seeing them change. Like right now he's like getting ready to like learn how to crawl. I'm like, time is just flying by.
Well, the biggest thing is you don't want to miss those moments.
Exactly.
Because you're in a very delicate stage right now where every day matters. Yeah, every day matters.
So much has changed within every week. I'm just like, I feel like we're hitting so many milestones. Like he's saying dada. The other day, even though nobody wants to admit it, I heard him say ma. And I'm like, okay, there's hope for me there. But yeah, I just really try to embrace changing whatever it is I'm fearing into like, what is it that I do want? And it's things that my coach is helping me with. A shout out to Spicy. And just like really transitioning into welcome, like this is just what mom life looks like. Like one day you're going to kill it. The next, it may not feel like that. I think one of the biggest things for me is just like, I tend to have like what anyone would call a type A personality. And so it's realizing that because I am also a single mom and just carry the weight of having Roman 24/7, I have to have things in order because that next day might look very different than that Monday. You know, Monday might be killing it, and then Tuesday he might not sleep through the night or something happens, and then you left the sink full. And so I've learned that my type A-ness gives me ease. Maybe to somebody else, it might seem like a
What is type A? Is that the controlling one or the non-controlling?
The type A schedule is very, yeah, like I'm really opposite. Yeah, I'm very flexible. I'm very flexible with like, I have a soft schedule for him. So I'm not married to like, oh, he needs to eat by 11. Though with the environment, I feel like that's where I find ease. So like I will always stay on top of the laundry. I will always stay on top of the kitchen. I will always stay on top of that. Yeah. Like I do all the things that I aesthetically can find ease in because it allows me to feel more comfortable and have that sense of like, okay, well now I can just dedicate time to him. But I honestly feel like I put the baby down. It's like, go. So
my pediatrician told me, because when I had my son, I had a C-section and then I had infection from the C-section and then I went back to the hospital for 8 days, had another surgery. It was a lot. So by the time I got to the pediatrician, I think the first visit, he was a month old maybe, which nobody does that. Like people take their kid to the pediatrician like
as soon as they're
whatever, like as soon as they get home. home. And she just was more worried. She literally was like, I'm more worried about you right now than your kid. Like, she was really, really sweet. And she said to me, listen, the more you try to control things, the more they're going to fall apart. Like, you have to understand that with babies, it's like, you gotta let it go. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know more than like all of us, because you have 3 of them. Like, you only have 1, right? This one. We all have 1.
Yeah.
But with 3, you really see like a dynamic, at least with many kids, how you really want to go, because whatever goes. But yeah, that's why I want you to share. But I think that one of the things is like me, that I was by myself with this baby, 1 month out. I was so like sick, trying to recover. I had drain bags. I had, a PICC line in my arm. I was so messed up. Like, I was so banged up that and I was trying to figure out this motherhood thing. I think I realized that from right after she said it, like, just let things be. Like, if the laundry isn't done, it's so refreshing to not like worry about it sometimes, because other things come up, and I think that we stress with that because then we lose time with other things, right? So I think the biggest thing is like finding a way to ease your mind, because your mind, and we're all different. Like you said, with your personality, it all works so differently. So what's going to bother you the most, and check that off the list, and then learn how to let
also
other
like
things
a
go.
dopamine hack.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it's like a way to feel like, okay, well, at least this was taken care of, and it's okay that I only slept 3 hours, because then it's like, you just, for everyone, it's going to look very different. And then another thing I've been learning is that, my coach also told me, she's like, take everything that comes out of anyone who is not a mother with a grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean,
Do not take any advice from anyone who has not birthed a child and is mothering.
I've done it before.
Period. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. It's super controversial. Yeah. And at the same time, it's just like only mothers are going to be able to really give you like.
And some moms, because it also depends. Like, I would say, be very careful about who you're taking advice from. And that, and as an early mom, you don't know what you don't know. And I don't like when people compare, like, oh, I only have 1 kid versus 3 people. You only know what you know.
Right.
And when you are a new mom, it's something so new. And of course, like, you're going to want to control a lot of things that I did with my first son, that now with my third, we're like a lot more free and easy. And
how old were you when you had your first child?
I was 26. Okay. With Luke.
I was 21.
I was going to ask you about that.
Like, I feel like we're going back to my trauma right now, y'all.
But for some part here, we're bringing it back.
I mean, mom guilt, definitely had that. I was a single mom. I feel like I worked like 7 jobs at 21. And I hate to say this, but I mean, like, people might say I was for the streets, but I think at 21, you like want to have that social life. You want to be outside. I was struggling with addictions at the time, like being out, being in Miami, living in Miami, being 21. It was definitely hard for me. I see my daughter now and I can't believe we made it this far. I'm like, she's 14 and it's like completely different worries, it's different now. Now I'm thinking about like college, because I feel like that's kind of when, I had my freedom from my mother. My mother had obviously addiction problems as well. And I just want to break that cycle. And I'm like thinking college, and I want her to be so smart and financial literacy and just like save money and work hard. And, it was just so different when I was doing it at 21. I just had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. And it was just constant go, and things, making plans and them not coming together, and paying for sitters and working and not having enough to pay for the sitter, and like then wanting to have a life and balance. And it was a lot.
Between all of us is that we don't know what we're doing. With whatever child, whatever season you're in, I feel like it's like little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems, as in you're growing. Every season you're changing, you're adapting. And like the beautiful thing about motherhood is that we're not in control. And that is a freeing thing, but it's also something that's very like, that keeps our thread of like, even like the guilt, like you could be in control of your guilt and trying to switch the script on like, okay, maybe right now is a crazy season at work, but tomorrow I know the full day I'm going to be off my phone, off social media, and really be intentional with the time that I have with my kid. It's like, those are the things that we can control.
I definitely, the missed moments. I mean, I remember my sitter being like, did you know that your daughter is kind of walking? She was like, she walked and we almost pushed her down.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, don't worry. Like, I saw it, but it was just like, I do remember missing a lot. But I think it just brought me to where I am now. I needed that hustle. I needed to go through the thick of it. I mean, I went through custody. I went through drug tests. I went through all kinds of crazy things and, got full custody of my daughter and,
So that's what I wanted to ask you. So, like, obviously, she's how old now again? You're talking
14.
So 14 years ago to now, also, like, technology's different. Like,
Oh, yeah.
my son's, like, on his phone. So that's, like, a whole conversation we had recently about the gaming and the YouTubes and all this. Like, how I'm entertaining my son or, like, how I'm managing, or, like, I have a camera at home that I can see him when I'm not there.
Yeah.
Or, like, things like
Cool.
that. I think that being that you had her 14 years ago, also, a lot of my drive and ambition came from need. I broke up with my son's dad very young. I mean, I wasn't very young. My son was very young when I separated from his dad. So essentially it was like, I'm self-employed. So if I didn't work, I didn't make money. There was no guaranteed check. So I found myself where my ambition was solely based on need. It wasn't really based on what I wanted to do. It was more based on a need to provide for my son.
Yeah, I can
and to keep my apartment and my car and everything else, because kids are really expensive, Yeah. And I think that that's the hardest part too, is that there's different drives for ambition. So, like, did you feel like, because you were so much younger than I was 38 when I had my son. So if I felt that at 38, like, I thought about this many times. If I was 20, if I would have gone through what I did at 20, how much harder it would have been. Because at least at that point at 38, as hard as it was, I kind of knew, like, all right, I'm a badass. I've done this before. I've been in this. I've lost everything at one point in my life already, and I made it out of it. But this brought a whole nother, it was a different world. So essentially, like, how did you manage that? Because, I just think it's amazing. And I've known you since your little girl was like 5, maybe?
Yeah.
So, like, how do you feel like your ambition was driving you at that point? And how did you handle?
I think when you know better, you do better. So I think even like I go back and forth with the idea of having another child with my husband. And I think, obviously being 36 now, I would want to be more in the moment and enjoy it. And even just describing what you're going through with the crawling and all that, it's so hard for me to go back to that, because at 21, you're still figuring out yourself. You got postpartum and you feel crazy, and then your baby daddy's giving you crap and not paying child support, but still want to see the kid, and then you want to hang out, and it's like,
We're not exactly.
Or move back in.
or then they want to tell you what to do, or I don't know. But obviously that's everyone else. That's not everyone's story. Shout out the dads who are present.
Yeah.
I unfortunately did not have that. And I still always let my daughter see her dad, because I do think that's very important, especially for girls. But I didn't even have the tools to do better, because my mom was never that person, for me. So I didn't have that in my life.
What was that moment where you just realized, like, this is how I'm going to make this happen?
I think I've always been a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the beauty in trauma. Like, it makes you who you are. And that's like something too I've noticed with my daughter. My daughter, she's like, yo, can you Uber Eats me food? Like, I'm like, girl, can you make yourself? Did you ever make the cinnamon toast? Did y'all make the cinnamon toast with the butter and the cinnamon? Like,
Yes.
my kid doesn't know that life. I got like this bulldog in me that's always been like in there, and whether it's aggression and it comes out and came out of my drinking or whatever it was, like I always had this like little fighter inside of me. And, I think I knew from the beginning when I wasn't getting help. She always kept me like wanting to work and wanting more and wanting better. Yeah, grounded. And then she wasn't enough to get me sober. But then once I got sober, it just like, it clicked, It's been it ever since. I want her to be better than me.
I think it's a good thing to ask. Like, did you ever feel like you missed out on something, or specifically something?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like you regretted anything? Like, I feel like as much as I've lost, I've gained.
Yeah.
So I have
100%.
lost. I have lost on a lot. Like, even now, it's Fashion Week this week. I'm having a really hard time. I'm probably not going to go because my son just started this school and he's having a really hard time. And if I leave, that's his whole schedule is messed up because of me leaving. Like, if I'm not there, I'm the grounding in his life. So I might not go. You know what I mean? And that's the sacrifice. It's just life,
I'm sure some of those things for sure, but
You're like, I
the bigger
forgot by now. I forgot.
I'm sure when I was younger, there were things that I really wanted to do that I couldn't do. I will say one thing about me is like, I'm gonna find a way. If I really want to do something, I've always like big about like, I need to have my time. And, like, I know I wouldn't say that I'm like your friend. Like I love being a mother, but I know that it's just another part of me. And I always try to take care of me, and I have to, because if not, then I'm not well and I can't be a good mother. So, you know, whether it was having my daughter go to her dad's or go to her family's, or, you know, having like a moment where I have to call on a friend. Thank God I had so much support, and my daughter was always like a good kid.
I was going to share one thing about you talking when you said that you don't know what you don't know. I feel, Kelly, what you said about the sacrifice that you have as a mother. For me, it was a life-changing moment of the grounding that you talked about, and like what were my priorities, and who is Brittany going to be as a mom? What am I teaching them with what my actions are and where I put my time? And like, what legacy am I going to leave behind? There's something bigger than just me and like the sacrifice and the things that I'm going to leave behind. Even though I was super career driven and I worked 60 hours a week and never blinked. When I found out I was pregnant, I quit my job and ended up working for Microsoft. I'd been at Microsoft for 11 years and was able to get things like parental leave, but people don't have access to that, which is unfortunate. So every single day I sacrifice something, but the reward on the end, like when you lay down on that pillow, when you hold that child in your arms, when you're the first person that they call when they need something, all of those little in-between moments.
Right, exactly. But they know they can call you.
Exactly.
So many of us are in our masculine because we have to provide. I admire that. And at the same time, I wish that there was more encouragement for the women that do decide to become single moms. I'm seeing Starr, because I follow her, and like seeing how entrepreneur she is, how she figured it out. And like, you really have to choose the story that you want to tell yourself. Like, I literally had someone sit me down and tell me how bad it was for her in the beginning. I called an abortion clinic because everybody was telling me these horrific stories, didn't have a job, didn't have a car, was living with my sister, and I was like, I want to have this baby. The abortion doctor took all of my information, called me back twice. Okay, you're coming in on Friday. You will confirm the appointment tomorrow. I was like, God, please don't let them call me. And they didn't call me. And I was like, okay, I'm having this baby. And guess what? Within a week, I had a job with healthcare. Within a month, I found a car under $400. And I wish that there was more encouragement for that, for the women that like are scared to do it alone. People are just going around blabbing about like all their problems instead of like listening to the other side. Like, I had to stop everyone, cut everyone off, work on my faith, and only look at the women who actually made it happen.
That's part of why Brit and I wanted to have these conversations, because there is a lack of support, just women to women. Forget about even just moms, just women support, like supporting other women. And I think that the biggest thing is we've all been hurt at some point in our life. But I think the biggest thing is, like you said, it's how you make, what you make your story to be. When I used to be like in my car driving, like thinking about how I was going to manage after I had my son, I was like, I feel like I'm hanging on to rocks. And the only things that I have are these rocks, and I'm gripping them so tight that I'm not letting them go in order to have my palm open to receive new things. And everyone, like you said, around you. So in my case, I had either the moms that I've been through it that were negative, or I had the married moms that had so much more than me. They had the husband, they had the nanny, they had the housekeeper, they had the financial support, they had the grandparents, they had, and they still were miserable.
I don't even know if it's necessarily harder, but I definitely think it's different to do it with a partner. I mean, I was a single mom, and the dad is like completely pretty much absent. He comes around once every 3-6 months when he feels like it. And I almost think it's easier because I don't have to deal with him. You know, like co-parenting isn't happening. Like, I'm making all the decisions myself, so I get to have control, so I can control the outside variables. And, you know, I don't have to deal with another personality, or if somebody gives me attitude, I don't have to, you know what I mean? So I don't constantly get any sort of feedback.
So another thing I want to talk about is, in this country, I heard a report that said that the highest rate of anxiety, depression is in teens and moms. And my thought when I heard that was, I was just like, why? You know, like, why are our teens suffering so much and our moms? And essentially, I can't give you all the answers for the teens. I have my ideas. But for moms, they specifically said that it's the lack of support. Number one reason. And the issue in this country is that so much money is spent, but it's not given in the area of support. So a lot of, companies don't even have maternity paid leave. There's obviously a lack of support at home. There's a lack of support in families. There's a lack of support financially. The issue that we are facing is that moms are struggling so much in here because we're juggling so many things now that we are working moms, single moms, or moms without family close by or someone to call, or whatever the case may be. But we have so much in our head, and the to-do list just never never ends and it's just constant. So we're not really getting the break and the self-care that we need or the time that we need to replenish ourselves. Because essentially I saw an incredible post that was like, we all say that we would die for our kids, but will we live for them? And the way that you live for your kids is to be healthy.
Yeah, so fitness played a huge part in my recovery and sobriety. I think I wouldn't have gotten sober had I not found fitness. One, because it like obviously gets you out of your head, gets you out of that mental space. You feel so much better after a class. Your endorphins are raised. And then, you know, two, I had all this extra aggression built up from, you know, I guess everything I'd gone through in my life. So it was huge for me. And I think in the beginning, my daughter was so young, but I just kept bringing her to the gym. I know that doesn't work for all gyms, but she knew she had her iPad. That was her iPad time. I always made time for that 45 minutes for myself.
Or what do you suggest for the moms that just can't make it to the gym, or, you know, they're working on themselves? Because a lot of times I feel like, especially with, it's not about how much you weigh or what you look like, but I'll tell you this, I don't care. If my jeans fit that day, I feel a little bit better. When I started to not be able to lose the baby weight, like after I, you know, had my son, it was a little bit of a struggle because I wanted to bounce back, and that's just not everybody's reality. Like some people's bodies change forever and they're not able to get back. But essentially, like I got kind of close, and then it was like, I just could never shave off those last 20 pounds. So anytime that I felt a little leaner, I don't know why, it brought back a sense of who I used to be. And I think that for some reason it's psychological, because all of this really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you weigh or whatever, as long as you feel good about yourself. But it was incredible that it made me feel so great about myself. Just that like maybe my previous jeans fit that day, or like, you know, that's something I used to wear all the time I felt good in or looked good in. And as a mom, those moments really matter, because especially when you're trying to get your groove back and you're a single mom, you're like, I just want to feel good about myself. I don't care what other people think. But essentially I couldn't always make it to the gym, or I couldn't always like get on a, you know, I couldn't get a nutritionist to help me with my meals, or a chef, or any of the others.
Making the list, celebrating the small wins. I think people overcomplicate exercise. You know, like they're like, oh, I need to do it when I get better outfits, or I get a trainer, or, you know, and I get
Fit in my outfits.
right, or I'm going to get better equipment. I think that the internet is a huge source. Go on YouTube, find it. You know who I've been using? And I love this guy, ChatGPT. You can ask Chat. I love my boy Chat.
Co-pilot girl.
Yo, I love.
One of the things that I think that like I had mentioned earlier with like having support and all these things is us, how we feel as human beings. Because you as a mom, I just feel like moms carry a lot of pain. They don't want to feel that because they feel bad about that feeling, right?
Yeah, I definitely have had those moments where you feel like it's almost like a feeling of desperation, where you just like don't understand what's happening to you, or like how you're going to navigate things. And it's just like, it's that fear that like, that's what you were talking about earlier. Like, what are some fears? It's just like, it's just this emotion that comes in a wave, and then you get a grip on it. And then you're just like, okay, it's going to be okay. And it's kind of like what you said in the beginning, like some days you're going to kill it and other days you're going to feel like, well, this just wasn't a good day. And it's just embracing the grace. This is what grinding looks like. And this is what grinding as a single mom looks like. And this is what wanting to find that independence so you can finally get to that point where you make the time to date. And maybe you go out with the guy and it's not the guy, but at least you went out.
Yeah, you went out.
You know?
I find that the most important thing is talking to other moms. I feel that there's like the lack of support, because you don't realize like how you feel is actually how probably 20 other moms around you feel. Definitely. And I've been judged by my friends even, where like maybe they don't agree with my decisions, or because they care about me, they kind of want to help me pick the better decision. And maybe it is the better decision, not saying that they're wrong, but it's my life. Right. So essentially we have to figure it out for ourselves, especially you being a young mom. I'm sure you got a lot of that where like everybody has their opinions.
Well, the village should tell you. The village is going to tell you. The problem is when you let the village help, then the village, they have a say. Then they get a say. So if you,
or you have to pretend they have a say.
With a penny.
Right. So if you outside at 1 a.m, they're going to tell you, you know. Now I'm at the point with my daughter, she's old enough that if I am starting to feel like I'm having one of those mental breakdowns, I can kind of communicate to her like, hey, I'm sorry, this isn't about you right now. Yeah. I'm having a bad day, or I'm going through this, or I'm scared. And all my stuff is like fear-based, and it's usually financial based. And I feel guilty when I just can't give her everything she wants.
So I've been married to my husband for 11 years.
Congratulations.
Ooh, yes. Just going back to kind of the dual roles, and like the question that everyone asks is like, as a mom, how do you pull it all together? How do you do it? Every week I get asked that question. And I asked my husband, does anybody ever ask you that question? Like, how do you pull it all together? And he's like, no. And going back to like being in a home where we're dual parents, he is just as much involved in every capacity of our life and picking up the kids and dropping off and the whole entire thing, which I'm so grateful for him. And he's an amazing dad, an amazing husband. But it's also hard, just having like, you're both different identities of what you expect for your child, putting in, the same amount monetarily or financial for your home, but then trying to figure out the balance. And for us, I feel like just going back to the question that you were asking about, like, what is those difficult things that you don't ever want to talk about or share, is that I have 600 tabs open in my brain in every moment of my life, in work, at home, with the kids. And when I talk to my husband, he's so efficient, but he has 2 tabs open.
Right.
And it's amazing. And he always gets frustrated with me because he's like, you put the pressure on yourself. You're the one that wants to achieve at work. Yeah. You're the one that wants to hit these milestones. Yeah. You're the one that's going to this extra thing. Why? Just say no. Just say no. And that's the constant battle with us, is like, he's like, you're sinking your own ship. My boat's nice and clean. But I'm thinking of everybody's dental appointments.
Women are fate,
their meal.
Why we're struggling, because we're doing so much.
And that's the part that I feel like women have to rewrite that narrative. Even the question of like how you have it all together. I started asking my guy colleagues, how are you pulling it all together with kids and work? And they look at me silly. They look at me silly. Exactly.
Well, I saw an Instagram post that was hilarious where girls went out. You know how guys will pick up girls on the street and be like, hey girl, you looking good today. Can I get your number? I don't remember. Or it's been a minute for me too, which my aunt warned me about. She's like, one day you're going to wish they did it. But yeah, they would like say, so this Instagram reel was so funny because it was what women would say if they picked up men. Ooh, you look really good as my son's father. Oh wow, you'd be really great picking up the kids. Yeah, mowing my lawn. It was that. It was picking up my kids. It was like, how handy are you? The things that women think of though and what they look for is so different from like what a man looks for, or how they even compartmentalize all these things. So I think that's where we do overcomplicate, but we also do carry a different load. It's just a different load, and we're normally the nurturers. So in our nature, like me, when I had my son, my best friend, she reminded me that finally I have someone to take care of so I can stop taking care of everybody else, because I always found a project. I don't know about you, but my men list of men are projects.
Build a bear.
Did this one. Gotta build your man up. I see their potential and not their reality. No. This is who he is today. He's not changing. Like, don't change him.
Yeah.
I always see the potential. I get stuck on potential.
There's that funny reel of like, me running towards my man's potential, and she like jumps and just falls straight into the roof.
That's guilty. Over and over and over again. But that's why I'm alone now, because I want to make better decisions. But the point is I think that that's the biggest thing with us, is that you're doing all these things that matter, like with the mom economy and all these extras that essentially you don't have to do, but it fulfills you. It fulfills you. And it's part of who we are as human beings. Like, I wouldn't probably be okay just going to bed at night, maybe doing one thing. I think I might be really bored. I don't know. Like, I've always done it this way. So I don't know how to do it anything else. I've had 3-4 jobs my whole life. I've never really worked any other way. I just don't know. You know what I mean?
Sitting here hearing your guys' stories has brought me more like joy, fulfillment, and hope. Just like hearing what you guys have to say, relating. Oh, sorry. I was genuinely just telling you guys, relating to what you guys are bringing to the table and hearing your stories is the reason why On Your Plate was born. Is we had these conversations. I make it my priority every week to meet one person that I would never talk to. Sometimes I message them on LinkedIn, Instagram, and I have a phone call at 15 minutes. And just to get like a little glimpse of something different and hearing people's stories. And I get so much joy and fulfillment from that, but it's because we're all in this together and it takes a village. And when you hear these different, even though not everybody has the same type of lifestyle, you can get these golden nuggets of wisdom that you can take into your lifestyle. So I brought a piece of Starr home with me, a piece of Kelly, and a piece of Bibi, and that's my therapy,
Love it. Thank you.
This is also a reason why you have 6 tabs open. They're reaching us to feed up.
Yeah.
She's like, talks to one new person a week today.
Yeah, she's got a few in there. Well, thank you guys for being here today. This is such an amazing conversation, and hope you guys enjoyed the chat today. Don't forget to subscribe and like to our channel, because that's what my son at 5 years old is always telling me. Smash that like button and subscribe to our channel.